Alrighty, today, boys and girls, we are going to retrofit some old fluorescent light fixtures to run 110 volt LED lights. I took down these old fixtures and replaced them with LED fixtures. The ballasts were burnt out, and I was replacing ballasts. I actually had gotten a bunch of them on clearance from the clearance aisle of Home Depot. And lo and behold, I discovered the new LED bulbs will run on 110 volts and don't need a ballast. So now my new hobby is making old lights that don't work into new lights that do work, that take LED bulbs. These lights come apart thusly. Everyone's a little different. Sometimes they have a screw or a fastener at the end, but this one you just squeeze it and it unhooks from these hooks as you squeeze it. As you can see, I already gutted this. The ballast is gone. And then these, the tombstone holders, they just very easily slide out, as you can see. They slide out. The tombstones slide out of them. We're going to try to reuse as much of the existing wiring as possible, but we are going to have to make some alterations. Now you can see the way this is wired. Some of the LED bulbs want to have a hot and a cold at one end, and other LED bulbs want a hot wire at one end and the cold wire at the other end. I am wiring these for the lights that take the hot and cold both at the same end. So as you can see, we got one yellow wire coming in here, jumping out on a black wire to over here, and we have the other yellow wire here. So if I hook one of these to the positive and one of these to the negative, I'll have a hot and a cold at both ends, or at both terminals inside the tombstone. I'm going to do that at both ends so that if you flip the light bulb around the other way, it'll still light. Sadly, I'm floating solo here, and I don't have a tripod, and even if I did, I wouldn't be able to get you in where you gotta go. So I stripped about a ½ inch insulation off, and if you look on the back of the tombstone, there's a double socket. There are spring-loaded metal fingers in there, and all you gotta do is just push the wire in, and when you tug on it, it shouldn't come out. If you look too, the insulation goes down into the tombstone, so there's no exposed wire showing. Do the same thing here. Sorry, this is really hard to do with one hand. Alright, I'm going to neaten that up, and we'll put the tombstone holders back in. Okay, so I prettied that up a little bit. And now, the Father and the Son and in the Holy goes. Alright, I'm going to punch this knockout out, and I'll tell you why I'm doing that. Here's a little pointer I want to give you guys. I can't stress this enough. To me, I think this is a great idea, and everyone I've explained it to seems to agree with me. Maybe you guys will too. Whether you do or not, leave it in the comments. Maybe you think it's a stupid idea, but I put all my shop lights on a cord, and I plug them in. And I put an outlet in the ceiling from the work. If I do new construction, I put outlets in the garage or in the basement in the ceiling. And if it's old construction, I'll still take out the light fixture and put a box in where the wires were hardwired, and then put an outlet in. And the reason for that is work lights are garbage. They break, they wear out, they get outdated. Sometimes it's more expensive to change the bulbs or the parts than it is to just buy a whole new light. And if you plug it in, you can unplug it, take it down, put the new one up, plug it in. You're not trying to work in the dark because all the other lights still work. You can move them. It gives you so much freedom and versatility. I'll never hardwire a cheap fixture for a workshop ever again. Alright, I put this on just so the cord won't yank out. I know it's for Romex, but if you run lamp cord through it and tie a knot on the other side and snug it down, it won't damage the wire and it'll stop it from coming out. And you're all set for down the road if you ever decide you want to hardwire this for some inexplicable reason. Alright, I got a roll of lamp cord. Sometimes what I do is if I'm scrapping an appliance that doesn't work anymore, an old lamp, TV, whatever, I cut the cord off for applications like this. Sometimes I've even ordered or bought cheap extension cords and cut that block of plastic crap off the end with the 3 plugs that aren't real outlets and use that as a cord because it's cheaper than buying a replacement cord for some reason. As you can see, I got it going through the clamp, tied a knot in it, and I got it run down here where all the wires can meet up. Now all I got to do is put one yellow, one red, and one of those wires as the hot or cold, and the other one as the ground, the neutral. It doesn't matter which because the bulbs are not polarity sensitive. I usually try to wire everything polarity sensitive anyway, just because it's a good practice to be in, and I'm really anal like that. But this wire has no indicator of which one's which. There's no stripe or anything. So it's really hard to determine which is which. Oh, I guess maybe I lied. Maybe you can differentiate between the two. But whatever. I'm going to have to make something to hold this phone for me, but I tried buying a camera to give you guys better videos, but turned out the camera was, I guess, either I don't know how to use it or poor quality. More likely I don't know how to use it, and it came out really terrible, the video, so I'm having better luck with my phone. At any rate, I like to tin my stranded wire when I'm going to marry it to solid core wire. It just makes it easier to work with. You don't get those little hairs that poke out and stab you. I can't do it with one hand, so I'm sorry. I'm going to have to put you down for a sec. Okay, I got both of them coated in solder. Alright, so I took one red lead, one yellow lead, and one lead from the cord, twisted them together. Took the other yellow, the other red, and the other lead from the cord and twisted them together. And at this point, you could absolutely positively just put a wire nut on there and call it done. But, I'm not a big fan of wire nuts. They do have a tendency to not bite or fall off when they're this small. And B, I'm out of the little ones. So I'm going to solder it and shrink wrap it. Now I'm going to show you a trick. When I was a kid and I first got a soldering iron and I started to solder, I was like, wow, this is so cool. It's better than wire nuts or the solderless crimp-on connectors. But then I got a soldering gun, and I was like, this is so awesome. It's so much faster. It's got a little light. This is what I've been missing all my life. And that was good enough for a while. But I'm going to show you a trick that will save you time, simplify your life, make things immensely better when working with thicker wires, things that are hard to get hot and soldered with a soldering iron or a gun. Are you ready? Okay, check this trick out. Ta-da! Okay, now I'm going to do 2 layers of shrink wrap. Get these first ones on. They don't like to go over the insulation, so I put them on first. I like to use a heat gun on shrink wrap, just because it gives you more control without burning it or setting the insulation on fire or making it split. come around from the other side. And now I'll get a thicker layer on over that. Second layer. Second verse, same as the first. Ooh, this is right up there with watching paint dry. Neatened up the wires a little bit. Cover back on. Okay, I gave myself about 3.5, 4 feet of cord. And I just knocked off, I don't know, maybe 1/4 inch of insulation off the end. I'm going to twist these up and tin them. And I'll show you why in a second. Okay, I got these plugs off of Amazon. I was really just looking for a big amount of inexpensive plugs. I didn't want weird hingy plugs. But I could get these in 4 packs or 6 packs for a pretty good price. The other ones were the 3-prong type, which were far more expensive. And I said, what the heck, let me try them out. And they're a little strange. So, cover pops apart. And you've got these posts with set screws or clamping screws. So I like to tin the wire, loosen the screw. I can stick it in through the back side, out through the front side. If I can show you. Focus, you bastard! And then clamp it down with the screw and reassemble it. Got that all tucked in, and the strain relief, relieving strain, I guess. Okay, both covers are clamped on. We are ready for testing. Too bad I don't have any bulbs. By the way, if you wanted to use the other type of LED replacement light, obviously you would just put both wires running to one end on the hot lead and both wires running to the other end on the cold lead. If you wired it like I did and you wanted to change it, you could cut one yellow wire on this side, cut one red wire on the other side, and swap them out so that both yellows go to the same lead from the cord and both reds go to the other lead. And then have hot at one end, cold at the other, instead of hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, which is what we have now. Here's another little tip for you. Once you change this, I label it with a Sharpie. You could make a nicer label. You could put something under the bulb so the bulb hides it and covers it if it's a nicer fixture and you don't want to have crappy handwriting all over the place. But this is just to remind myself that this is 110 volts for LEDs, so I don't try to put a regular fluorescent bulb in it ever. And since I put plus and minus at both tombstones at both ends, I labeled that as well. So I know which bulbs I have to do. I don't have to pop the cover off and take a look. And if I changed it, I would cross this out. I guess I could just put a little dash through each of these to show that these are positives now. Change this end to minus or what have you. But yeah, you know, do yourself a favor anywhere you can. Write down stuff. I've even been drawing up owner's manuals for things that I've built, things I've invented, things I've had forever that never had an owner's manual, as I find out where I can get parts and whatnot. Make life easier for yourself any chance you get. One more thing I'd like to explain about these lights is, so you may have seen or heard in the light advertisement or me talking about the tombstones having a shunt. What that basically means is the two wires that go on the right do not contact the two wires on the left. There's one post over here that engages with one peg on the light bulb. There's a post over here that engages with the other peg. So you have to use a non-shunted tombstone. I actually just ordered a box of non-shunted tombstones. They're dirt cheap. I have a lot of lights that have broken tombstones, so. And what I did was, let's say for the sake of argument that I wired this positive and this negative. On the other side, I did it the opposite. I flipped it. So if you use the other type of light bulb that's looking for a positive at one end and a negative at the other end, I'm hoping it'll take the positive from this end and the positive from that end without shorting out the tombstone and popping your breaker. So it's something I tried to do. I guess I could do a little more research and see if that's good advice or pointless. I'll let you know what I find out. Okay, I finally got some LED bulbs in. I got this little gizmo here I made. You plug it into the wall, and then it turns this outlet into a switched outlet, so you can turn things on and off that don't have an on and off switch. Let's see what we got. Hey! Lo and behold, it works. Let me know in the comments if I was thorough enough, if there's anything else you'd like me to explain. Let me know if there's something you'd like to see me build or fix or modify or a problem you'd like me to tackle. I'd be happy to oblige. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.